The accusation came on the worst morning of Adrian Vale's life. Rain hammered against the glass walls of the 23rd floor conference room while dozens of executives stared at him like he was already guilty. A security officer stood near the door. A confidential file lay open on the polished table. And at the center of it all stood Celeste Rowan, the feared CEO whose icy silence could crush even the strongest employees. Her voice cut through the room like a blade as she accused Adrian of leaking company secrets to a rival corporation. The room fell completely silent after those words. Adrian could barely breathe. All he could think about was the little girl waiting for him at daycare, the unpaid rent notice hidden in his kitchen drawer, and the terrifying possibility that everything he had sacrificed for was about to disappear in a single moment. If you believe kindness and second chances still matter in this world, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Story House. Stories like this remind us that even the coldest hearts can change when life gives people a reason to care. Adrian had never imagined his life would end up inside towering glass buildings and endless meetings. 5 years earlier, he had been a happy husband, living in a small sunlit apartment filled with laughter and dreams. But everything changed after a tragic highway accident took his wife, Serena, away from him forever. One terrible night turned him into a grieving widower and the only parent to a 3-year-old daughter named Ivy. Since then, every day had become a battle against exhaustion. Adrian woke before sunrise to prepare breakfast, braid Ivy's hair using online tutorials he secretly watched at midnight, rush through crowded streets to daycare, and then spend long hours working as a data analyst at Rowan Dynamics, one of the most powerful tech companies in the city. He barely slept. He rarely smiled. Yet he never complained because Ivy's tiny hand holding his every evening reminded him why he had to keep going. What Adrian did not understand was why Celeste Rowan seemed to despise him from the moment he joined the company. Celeste was famous across the corporate world. Business magazines called her the Iron Architect because she had transformed her late father's struggling company into a billion-dollar empire before turning 35. Employees feared her perfectionism. Investors admired her ruthless intelligence. But behind her flawless suits and cold composure was a woman carrying invisible scars. Years earlier, Celeste had trusted someone she loved. That person betrayed her, stole company secrets, and nearly destroyed Rowan Dynamics forever. Since then, she trusted no one completely. She viewed emotions as weaknesses and relationships as liabilities. Her office became her entire world. When Adrian arrived at Rowan Dynamics, his quiet nature and advanced analytical skills quickly attracted attention. Within months, he solved problems senior executives could not handle. Yet instead of praising him openly, Celeste watched him carefully from a distance. She noticed how he stayed late after work but often rushed away during evenings. She noticed mysterious phone calls during lunch breaks and files accessed at unusual hours. Her suspicious mind slowly built a dangerous conclusion. Then disaster struck. A competitor launched a product almost identical to Rowan Dynamics' confidential project, something only a few internal employees knew existed. Investors panicked. Stocks dropped overnight. News channels exploded with speculation about corporate espionage. Celeste became consumed by fury and paranoia. And somehow, all evidence pointed toward Adrian. His login credentials appeared connected to stolen files. Security footage showed him inside the building late at night before the leak occurred. Anonymous emails accused him directly. To Celeste, it seemed undeniable. But Adrian was innocent. The late nights happened because he needed overtime pay to cover Ivy's medical bills after her asthma worsened that winter. The suspicious phone calls were from the babysitter checking on Ivy. The accessed files were part of an assignment his manager had given him. But nobody wanted explanations. Fear spread faster than truth inside powerful companies. That rainy morning in the conference room, Adrian felt his world collapsing. Celeste looked at him with eyes colder than the storm outside. She announced that until the investigation ended, Adrian was suspended immediately. Security would escort him out. Humiliation burned through him as co-workers avoided eye contact. Some looked disappointed. Others looked relieved it was not them. Adrian wanted to scream that he had done nothing wrong, but grief and exhaustion had drained his strength long ago. Instead, he quietly gathered his belongings and walked toward the elevator while whispers followed him down the hallway. Outside the building, the rain soaked through his jacket within seconds. He sat alone on a bench near the street, staring blankly at passing cars while trying to figure out how he would tell Ivy they might lose their apartment. That evening, while reheating canned soup in their tiny kitchen, Adrian forced a smile for his daughter. Ivy innocently showed him a drawing she had made at school. It showed the two of them standing beneath a bright yellow sun. Above their heads she had written, "My daddy is my hero." Adrian nearly broke down crying right there. Meanwhile, inside her luxurious penthouse overlooking the city skyline, Celeste could not sleep. The storm still raged outside as she reviewed files alone in darkness. Something about the evidence felt too perfect. Too convenient. Her instincts, sharpened through years of corporate warfare, whispered that someone else might be manipulating the situation. But pride prevented her from reconsidering publicly. Days passed. Rowan Dynamics spiraled deeper into crisis. Investors threatened withdrawal. Employees feared layoffs. Reporters camped outside headquarters. Celeste worked almost non-stop, surviving on coffee and determination while trying to prevent total collapse. Then came the cyber attack. One Monday morning, every major system inside Rowan Dynamics shut down simultaneously. Screens turned black. Security protocols failed. Customer databases vanished. Panic exploded through the building as technicians scrambled helplessly. Millions of dollars were disappearing every hour. Celeste stood inside the emergency operations center watching chaos unfold around her. For the first time in years, genuine fear appeared on her face. Then an exhausted junior employee approached her nervously and admitted something shocking. Before his suspension, Adrian had secretly designed an emergency recovery framework capable of stopping catastrophic attacks. Most executives ignored his proposal because they considered it unnecessary. But now, it might be the company's only chance. Celeste froze. Pride battled desperation inside her for several painful seconds before she finally made the call she never imagined making. Adrian answered while sitting beside Ivy at a public park during a rare sunny afternoon. He almost hung up after hearing Celeste's voice. But something in her tone sounded different. Not cold. Not commanding. Afraid. When Adrian arrived at Rowan Dynamics hours later, employees stared in disbelief. The same man accused of betrayal was now walking directly into the center of the crisis. The atmosphere inside the building felt like a sinking ship. Executives shouted over each other. Systems continued failing. Investors demanded answers. Yet Adrian remained calm. Years of surviving personal tragedy had taught him how to function even while emotionally shattered. He immediately began analyzing the attack. Within minutes, he realized the truth. The breach had come from inside the executive division itself. Someone high-ranking had framed him to hide their own corruption while secretly selling company intelligence for months. And the traitor was still inside the building. As Adrian worked tirelessly beside exhausted engineers, Celeste watched him carefully. She expected bitterness or revenge after how she treated him. Instead, he focused only on saving the company and protecting innocent employees from losing their livelihoods. For the first time in years, guilt pierced through Celeste's emotional armor. Late that night, Adrian finally uncovered the real culprit, Victor Hale, Rowan Dynamics senior financial strategist. Victor had orchestrated the original leak and cyber attack while manipulating evidence against Adrian. His goal was to destroy company value, profit from insider trading, and disappear before anyone discovered the truth. Security moved quickly after Adrian presented undeniable proof. Victor attempted escape but was arrested before leaving the building. News spread across headquarters like wildfire. Employees who once doubted Adrian now looked at him with stunned admiration. But the emotional moment that changed everything happened quietly. After the chaos settled, Celeste found Adrian alone on the rooftop terrace just before sunrise. The city below glowed softly beneath the fading darkness. For a long moment neither of them spoke. Then Celeste did something nobody at Rowan Dynamics had ever witnessed before. She apologized. Not with corporate politeness or carefully rehearsed words, but with painful honesty. She admitted that fear and betrayal from her past had turned her into someone incapable of trusting others. She confessed she had judged Adrian without understanding the battles he fought every single day outside the office. Adrian listened silently while cold morning wind moved across the rooftop. He told her something simple that stayed with her forever: suffering can either make people cruel or compassionate, and every day people choose which one they become. Those words shattered something inside Celeste. Over the following weeks, Rowan Dynamics slowly recovered. Investors returned after the truth became public. Adrian's reputation was restored completely, and Celeste offered him a major executive position with a salary large enough to change his life forever. But the real transformation happened beyond business. Celeste began noticing things she had ignored for years. Employees looked exhausted. Parents struggled silently. Workers feared asking for flexibility because company culture rewarded emotional detachment. For the first time, Celeste understood leadership was not about intimidation alone. It was about humanity. Under her direction, Rowan Dynamics introduced childcare support, mental health programs, and flexible schedules for single parents. Employees were shocked by the sudden changes, but slowly the company atmosphere softened. Productivity improved. Loyalty deepened. People no longer worked out of fear alone. And Adrian? For the first time since Serena's death, life no longer felt like endless survival. Ivy's laughter returned to their apartment more often. Financial pressure eased. Hope slowly replaced exhaustion. One bright afternoon, months after the scandal ended, Rowan Dynamics hosted a family event in a downtown park. Employees brought spouses, children, and picnic baskets beneath warm sunlight. Music played softly while laughter filled the air. Adrian sat beside Ivy near the lake as she chased bubbles across the grass. Nearby, Celeste watched quietly while holding a paper cup of coffee. She looked different now. Softer somehow. Less guarded. When Ivy tripped while running, Celeste instinctively rushed forward to help her before Adrian could react. Ivy smiled brightly and grabbed her hand without hesitation. That small innocent gesture touched Celeste more deeply than any business award ever had. For years she had built walls around her heart so high that nobody could reach her. Yet a little girl who knew nothing about corporate scandals or betrayal simply saw kindness standing in front of her. And in that moment, Celeste realized success meant nothing if there was nobody beside you to share life with. As the sun began setting over the park, golden light spread across the water while employees laughed together in the distance. Adrian looked around at the people whose lives had nearly been destroyed and understood something powerful. Sometimes the people society overlooks are the very ones capable of saving everyone else. Before we finish this emotional journey, comment below where you're watching from and share one person in your life who deserves a second chance. Your story might inspire someone else reading the comments today. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Wisdom Story House. Your support helps keep meaningful stories like this alive for people who need hope, healing, and reminders that compassion still exists in this world. Because sometimes the coldest hearts are only waiting for someone brave enough to remind them how to feel again.